Hello and welcome to stream. I hope that you're all doing well this Sinful Sunday. I bet you never thought you'd see this model again, but I was wondering what would be the most fitting model for this stream, and this was the best one I could think of. So if you're not familiar with this one, this is the model that we used to stream Final Fantasy VII. We did an event, I think in the middle of the year, where we played all of the Final Fantasy VII games, and we used this model for all of that. It is also the best model, in my opinion, that shows Armpit, so, you know, fits the stream. Anyway, for those of you who don't know what we're doing today, we are having another rating submission stream. I've done a couple of these. For those of you who are new to my content, you probably haven't seen any of them because most of them are old. So some of the other rating streams that I did a lingerie rating video, which was where you guys submitted me lingerie and I would tell you if Dom would wear it or not. Another one I did was a fight rate list. That one got a little weird because a bunch of the people on that got weirdly territorial about the ratings I gave them. And that was also when I decided I would never do another VTuber rating list again for as long as I am one. And I think the other one we did was a character dating tier list, where you guys submitted me your fictional character choices and I would tell you if I would date them or fuck them. But today we are rating fictional armpits. So that's like your OCs or characters from series and stuff like that. You guys have submitted them to me and I am going to tell you how I would rate them. This is all for fun, so like if anyone feels any type of way about the outcome of their rating, it is solely based on the answers to the questions that you give me. So if you decided to skip those questions, I don't know what to tell you, because that probably means you're not going to get a very favorable rating. It's solely based on what you tell me about your character. So even characters that I know well, like if you don't give me much of anything to go off of, I don't really know how to rate them. So please don't get upset if you flew through the questionnaire and don't get a favorable rating. But also this is all just for fun. So like it's not that serious. And there's a lot of good characters on this list, by the way. You guys submitted some good ones, so thank you for that. I see a lot of OCs. I see a lot of characters I know well, which is cool. And if you have not submitted yet, you can still do so. Oh, let me hide Woofer. He needs to not be there right now. This is not appropriate content for him. You can still do so. Type exclamation form and you can access the form to submit. Please just make sure you type into chat that you submitted so I know to refresh the submissions instead of just barreling through thinking that there haven't been any new ones. Yeah. And as you can see, we have a lovely new addition to our stream. Some of you might know what this is because you were around when we first started streaming, but if you don't know what this is Doberman Armpit Worship Prison. So basically I'm gonna put you in there and that's gonna be where you stay for this entire stream. How do you get there though, you might wonder? Well, there are two ways. The first way is to spin the doggy wheel. The second way is to sorry, I gotta put myself in there. It's very important. The second way is to redeem. So there is a redeem. It costs 75,000 channel points. Many of you have channel points just sitting around. So if you want to join the Doberman Armpit Worship Prison, that is how you do it. So yeah. All right. Let's get started. So, not all of these pictures are not safe for work, but some of them are. and we will not be putting the not safe for work ones on stream, obviously. If you submitted a not safe for work one, it is cut off on the tier list, so I can still use it, but I'm not going to be showing it, obviously. I'm not going to show the forms either. I'm just going to read them, I think. I think that would be the easiest way to do this, because then I won't have to swap between screens and stuff like that, which can get messy. So I'm just going to read to you guys what the forms say. I think I might show you the pictures, though, like the safe for work pictures of the OCs. I'll put them on screen as we're rating them. And I think that's how we'll do this. I purposely cropped or gave more risque than sexual ones. I appreciate that. Thank you. I think there's only like one sexual one. I think. I don't know. Let's spin the doggy wheel. What do we got? We got a BDSM fact. Okay, this is a simple one, but there's been a lot of talk about consent on social media recently, especially with relating to like new sex workers and stuff like that. For those of you who don't know how consent works within the context of a BDSM scene, consent is a conditional subject, which means that just because you have consent to do a scene with somebody, it isn't unilateral consent. It can always be withdrawn, and also it doesn't necessarily mean because you do one scene with somebody that you have consent to treat them however you please going forward within your relationship. Even if that person is your romantic dom. So you always have to make sure that you're checking and renewing consent and stuff like that. And yes, subs can give unilateral consent in relationships based upon agreed upon dynamics, which is kind of the vibe that I go towards with my contracts in my roleplay server. But if you don't have any kind of conversation, if you don't have any kind of dynamic worked out, then chances are you probably don't have that level of consent. So, wait, do these pins wear off? I don't want them to. How do I make them not wear off? I don't want to have to keep repinning my guys. I thought they just stay there. Oh, damn it. Okay, there's probably a setting for that, but I don't know stream avatars very well. Anyway, okay, so let's get started. Sorry, I had to pull my thing over there. Thank you for spinning the doggy wheel, Riku. I hope you enjoyed your BDSM fact. All right, let's talk about our rating tier first of all. So this is ostensibly a tier list for whether or not I consider a character's armpits fuckable, and there are various tiers for this. So fuckable is obviously the highest rating on this stream. There's also lickable, there's kissable, there's sniffable, there is that I would worship them once, that I would fantasize about them, and there's not interested. I want to make it very clear that not interested is not a rude designation. It just means that, you know, I'm not really into that character's armpits that much, and that's totally fine. That's not a slight against that character. That's not me saying that character isn't lovable or anything like that. That is simply me saying that that character's vibes are not what I'm into, and that is totally fine. Once again, I want to re-stress that if you are not happy with the rating you get, they are solely based on what you give me. So, you know, minimal effort is probably going to mean a minimal rating. I don't really know how else to put that, but that's just how it is. All right, let's go. Let's get going. Okay, so I gotta figure out, first of all, how do I want to put these up on the screen? I'm thinking the easiest way would be another window, but not... Okay, that's a tab, first of all. Sorry, give me a moment. I'm gonna have to sort this out real quick. All right. That should be fine. Actually, wait, let me check. Let me do a test first. Oh, that's not really not safe for work. It's also cut off. I think it was edited. Okay, let me do a test first. Let me see in studio mode what this will look like. Okay, that's not bad. Yeah, we can do that. That's not bad. Okay. All right. Okay, that's easy. Okay, so the ratings are open. Let's begin. We're going to start with our first submission, which is one of Rory's. So this character's name is Raffion. Let me open their image for you. Which one is this? Is this that guy? Oh, that guy. This is a character from, I believe, World of Warcraft. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's read a little bit about Raffion. All right, Raffion. He's a dragon. This is his visage form. For a long time, he was only known as the Black Dragon that was uncorrupted by the old gods and took the name the Black Prince. He tried to help the Horde and Alliance work together and get better, but it all kind of went a big sideways and things got bad. But he was sort of right about a few things. He's very young, so a lot of people don't take him seriously. He desperately doesn't want to end up like the previous leader of the Black Dragon Flight, but also wants to see it restored to its former glory and fulfilling its original role as Earth Warder. All right, so let's take a look at the design before we continue. I don't need to know what series. It's not really important to the ratings. I thought about asking it, but it just doesn't matter. So, it's fine. I need to repin myself. God, this is gonna get annoying. I should have thought about this. I really just thought they stay pinned. There's probably a setting for it. All right, so I do like the design. I especially like this part here, where it's like you got the coat over what seems to be an undershirt. That's really cute. Let's see what we have to say. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much would you say this character sweats? Rory says a 6, which skews towards that he's pretty musky. His profession is ambassador between the Dragonflights and mortals. He rarely showers, according to Rory. He got an 8 on that. When I asked Rory what this character's hygiene routine is, Rory answered, you know, I got no idea. But one place he stayed at had hot springs, so maybe he enjoyed a good bath. Okay. So that's probably fairly clean. Rory says that he would describe this character's armpits as lookable. He would describe this character's armpits as fuckable. And the last question Rory answered is based upon what he would smell like in real life. Rory says earthy and fiery scents, but also perfumes that are often favored by nobles. So that vibe honestly gives me the feeling that he would probably smell like your average like incense maybe. I go to the Renaissance Fair a lot, and a lot of the tents and like cabins and stuff like that at the Renaissance Fair have this like distinctly like wood incense type smell. So like it's very smoky, it's very like it's very pleasing to the nose. Depending on what scent it is, obviously there's some incense that are just really overpowering and then you don't want anything to do with it, but like the ones that are pretty pleasing are nice. So honestly, I think that based upon the answers you've given me, I think this character's armpits would be pretty lickable, personally. I think that I think we would put him in lickable territory because I can definitely see like just burying my face under his arm and just getting as much of that scent as possible, but also wanting to wanting to like indulge in uh the taste of his sweat too. I don't know exactly how well their visages hide their nature. I don't either, but that's what I'm going with. So there we go. All right, that's our first decided. Thank you for the submission. Let's go to our next one. Our next one is Astarion from Baldur's Gate 3. This is going to be very interesting because Astarion is not my type of character. But I'm going to keep an open mind. All right, let's read about Astarion. Okay, he's a vampire spawn, recently broken free from his master. How much would you say this character sweats? Sweats a small amount, fairly clean. I would agree with that. When looking at Astarion's design, I would definitely say like he strikes me as more clean noble, like not really the type of person that would want to go outside and sweat a lot. Someone who probably like at the slightest indication of like feeling dirty would want to go and like take a shower. If he wasn't a vampire spawn, I can see him probably carrying around like pouches of like different scents and things like that. I know they did that a lot in like the Middle Ages and things of that nature. Would like probably have like a satchel around his neck or something to keep himself smelling fairly clean. I'm in the elves don't sweat much camp, but also vampire doesn't sweat much too. I don't actually know how much vampires sweat. That's a good question. Very good question. I don't know much about vampires, so I wouldn't say. I mean, sweat is a biological condition, right? And technically, vampires don't have biological workings, so maybe they don't. Interesting. All right, let's continue reading. Profession: vampire. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much would you say this character showers? A 9? So rarely showers? I wonder about that. I mean, I can see it, but also, come to think of it, do vampires even have a scent? Huh. I mean, demons have a scent. They usually smell like smoke and fire and brimstone, but vampires? A lot of interesting questions here. What is this character's hygiene routine? Until recently, it was a shared bath with which his siblings, and I doubt the water was very nice. I can see that. Would you describe this character's armpits as lickable? Yes. Would you describe this character's armpits as fuckable? Yes. Last answer. What do you think this character would smell like in real life? Bergamot, rosemary, brandy, and corpse. I can see that. Also, that's really fucking funny to me because those are my go-to scents, with the exception of the corpse. But bergamot, and rosemary are scents that I have gone towards in the past, especially bergamot. You said showers, by the way, not bathe, so I was taking it literally. Oh, that's fair. Sorry, I'm catching up on chat. Though it would depend on the world and the writer. Depends on the vampire. Vampires smell like perfume, or then nothing so they can hunt. Really depends on who's writing in terms of fiction. In terms of IRL lore, that varies too. Like, certain vampires may smell like something old, but also vampires would totally smell like the grave. He actually says that in game. Fairly reminder to everyone, bergamot is toxic to cats. Oh. Did not know that. Good to know. All right, so based upon the answers here, I have to say I really like the smell of bergamot. Brandy, not so much. I don't really veer much towards alcoholic smells, and I don't think much Dom would either. So I think on the subject of that, I'm gonna go with sniffable. I can see him at least wanting to sniff Astarion, but after that, I don't know how interested I would be after that sniff. Though then again, this does remind me that Dom does have dynamics with people that he just kind of puts them in like bondage positions and just will sniff them all day long. So who knows? And BG3 Asterion mentioned he does smell like death, but covers it up with perfume that I put down. It's a sniff of curiosity, like when dogs sniff to me. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on. Okay, our next character is Thancred from Final Fantasy XIV, and boy, is this gonna be hard for me because I already know where this man ranks for me. Dami, smell check, sniffs. Dami, you smell like a buck. I mean, he does smell check his subs fairly regularly, might I add. All right. Thancred is a personal favorite of mine, so I already have a rating in mind, but I will read this. I will read what you've said. What is this character's name? Thancred Waters. Characters from a series. Description of things about this character: man's a walking disaster, but not very good at looking, but very good at not looking like a disaster. Very true. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much does this character sweat? A 9. I would say that's fairly accurate. I've always imagined Thancred as a very musky boy. And not just because Dom would totally fuck him in that canon. But anyway, what is this character's profession? Scout, researcher, gunbreaker. On a scale from 1 to 10, how often would you say this character showers? In a mid 6. I think personally I would go more towards an 8. Thancred doesn't strike me as the type of character that is fairly cognizant of his hygiene, but also I don't think he cares about it either. He's always struck me as a very, very musky tank, which is really funny because the headcanon that I had of Dom when I made Dom as a tank is that Dom is also a fairly musky tank. So yeah. What is this character's hygiene routine? I feel like it's a tale of extremes. He bathes often, and if he's got access, but he's also on the road in remote faces for long periods of time, so it's probably a bucket at best. I can see that. Would you describe this character's armpits as lickable? Yes, I would agree. Would you describe this character's armpits as fuckable? Yes, I would agree. Lastly, please describe what you think this character would smell like if you had the opportunity to smell them in real life. Sweat, gunpowder, and whatever perfume he uses. I would say leather as well. If only because, like, all of this, I personally think is leather. This right here. But, like, a tactical leather. And tactical leather has that, like, very synthetic scent. So I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. But anyway, all right. So, Thancred's gonna get an S rank from me just because this is the character that I imagine Dom would have the most sexual interactions with within the 14 canon. And he's also a personal fave of mine. So, let's go ahead and put that in there. I wasn't thinking of their clothing. That's okay. That's part of why I am doing these ratings live on stream instead of like showing the forms. I bet Urianger is obsessed with his musk. I can see that. Do you know the meme, you smell like a baka? I can send it to you. If not, it's funny. Yes, I know it. I know that meme. All right, let's continue. All right, so we got one S rank tier. Let's see if we can get more. All right, next we have Urianger, who is another 14 character. I will say that as a character, I am not the fondest of Urianger, but I will read the answers here. He's a character that I've gotten more fond of over time, but starting out, I did not like him very much. I feel like overlooked a few of the questions. The OC questions are different, Viri. The OC questions are more geared towards getting to know your OC, so it's like giving someone the opportunity to chat about their OC to me. So a lot of these questions were worded differently on there. So you may have answered them, but you may not have, because they just might not be there. I made the OC prompt longer on purpose, and the reason why I made the OC prompt longer on purpose is because I wanted to give the person submitting their OC a chance to actually talk about their OC to me. Um, because getting to know these characters is pretty important to the rating. But yeah. All right, let's continue. Uh, what is this character's name? Urianger Augurelt. I think that's how you pronounce that. I cannot remember because I have not played Final Fantasy 14 in a month or so. The most beautiful elf you have ever seen. Do I need to say more? I would agree with that. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much you say this character sweats? Sweats a little bit. I would agree with that. What's this character's profession? Group weirdo. Fair. On a scale from 1 to 10, how often would you say this character showers? Daily? Yeah, I think I would agree. Urianger strikes me as the type of character that like regularly wears clothing that like displays his body or like his armpits, and he's probably fairly cognizant to the fact that like he's dirty or something. So I can see that he takes pretty regular showers. What is this character's hygiene routine? I can see Urianger having long baths full of nice soaps and scents, lots of lotion to keep his skin nice. I agree. I agree. Also, adding another factor to this rating, um, he thumbs through a lot of historic texts, and if you don't know something about human oils can degrade matter fairly easily, especially when it comes to old ancient books. There's a lot of old ancient like tomes and stuff like that from like years past that like people will be a little bit cautious about letting others touch, just because like the oil on your hands can really do some damage to the pages and stuff. So I imagine he's fairly cognizant of the fact that he needs to be relatively clean when he's doing research so that he doesn't damage any of those important texts or artifacts or anything like that. Would you describe this character's armpits as lookable? Yes. Would you describe this character's armpits as fuckable? Yes. I would say yes for just virtue of the fact that they're always on display. What do you think this character would smell like if you had the opportunity to smell them in real life? I think he'd like floral scents that remind him of Ilmeg. Absolutely. Spot on. Completely. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so here's the thing. Um, I am not particularly fond of sunflowers, and Dom is not particularly fond of sunflowers. So, by virtue of that, I think maybe Dom would worship them once and then he might stay away. Just because of how overpowering that smell is. Um, but yeah. Handling old books sometimes, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, a lot of mineral structures are like that too. Like one of the caverns that we have down near where I live tells people not to touch any of the rocks because like the oils on your hands can like degrade the surfaces and stuff of that nature. But anyway, okay, let's continue. By the way, if you haven't had the opportunity to submit your character to this and you want to, you can do so by using that form. Just make sure you type in chat that you submitted your character so that I can add them to the rating roster. Because once we finish the rating roster, that's it. All right, next we have Goth Fox. Got some preconceived notions with this one because I have written armpit worship scenes with this character. So it's why you see people wearing those white cloth gloves when handling old books and documentaries. Yes, indeed. Someone who grew up in a hometown surrounded by sunflowers, I despise sunflowers. I don't actually mind the smell of sunflowers exactly. There are certain herbal smells that I absolutely cannot stand. It just depends. Alright, so here's Goth Fox. His character VK, Visceral Kitsune. This is his OC. So this is our first OC question. Alright, so let's learn a little bit about VK. VK is a partially artificial clone of a long dead soul hacker who hunted down spiritual entities. His progenitor died in battle against the Doomsday Mafia. His former college organization and monster hunting group saved his soul and memories in a storage device, and since then he has transcended into primordial forces to the ends of all universes to cause apocalypses and abduct remarkable beings. However, his soul rebels to try and take down his once friends turned cult by starting a revolution against them to try and reshape reality and the universes into a more hopeful one. For fun, VK does indulge in the chaos and particularly indulges in being surrounded by eager life forms, sometimes thirsting heavily for them. He also enjoys almost lethal combat and taking down mega corporations. Very nice. All right, so on a scale from 1 to 10, he sweats fairly often, skews more towards extremely musky. What's this character's hygiene routine? He likes a bath after the end of it all. That's fair. Scale from 1 to 10, how often does he shower? Rarely. He almost has a 10 on not showering. Um, yeah, I would agree with that. Does your OC wear deodorant? Sometimes. Okay. Does your OC have an armpit fetish? Yes. Does your OC have a scenting and or musk fetish? Yes, musk. Would you say this character's armpits are fuckable? Yes, I would agree with that. Would you describe this character's armpits as lickable? Yes, I would agree with that. When creating your OC, did you put much thought into whether or not you wanted their armpits exposed in their design? Why or why not? Sometimes the tank top was not my concept, but I'd imagine he would actually have hairier pits. That's fair. Is your OC's armpit sensitive? No. Okay. How would your OC respond to their armpits being worshipped? Absolutely pleased, almost drooling. Oh, I can see that. That's a fairly attractive image. Please make one final appeal as to why you think your OC's armpit should be rated favorably by me. Include anything you'd like. After a big fight, he gets immensely potent. Same with Dom. Is there anything else you'd like me to know about this OC before I rate their armpits? If so, please explain below. Let's just say certain things done to his pits is something he really enjoys. Okay, yeah, fair. All right, so by virtue of the fact that I'm already familiar with this character and I have written actual armpit worship scenes with this character, I'm gonna go ahead and go with S rank, just because I already know how Dom would feel about this character's armpits, as he has demonstrated it before already. Well, sunflowers aren't bred for their smells, it's seeds and oil. True. The tail looks soft. It is soft, and Dom did enjoy yanking on it. Those medical play scenes were fun. They were very fun to write, yes. It's one of my favorite fetishes to write, actually. All right. Cool. So we got 2 fuckable armpits on this list now. Let's continue. Oh, wait. Do we need to do an ad break? No, we don't. Okay, good. All right. Thank you for your submission. Next character we have is another OC of Goth Foxes. We have Vulpus. Wait, that's not. Oh, wrong thing. Who was that just followed? Taiga Keen 385. Thank you so much for the dungeon and welcome. Wait, I said that all fucked up. Thank you so much for the follow and welcome to the dungeon. I hope you enjoy your stay. I finally caught the lad live. Yes, you did. Welcome. And what a time it is for you to catch me live. Okay. Let's learn about Vulpus. But before we do that, let me put him on screen so that I actually have the... There we go. Okay. All right. Let's read. Okay, this is Goth Fox's OC. Wait, what? Thank you for the follow, Raul Vanagim, and welcome to the dungeon. I hope you enjoy your stay. Let's continue. This is Goth Fox's other OC. Vulpus is a journalist for a sensational geek and occult tabloid magazine, but he's also a skilled mage specializing in the mind and space, both in physical and psychological proximity. He loves drinking coffee, a bit of a deceptive person, often cocky. He awakened to his powers after his mentor and trusted writing journalism partner died uncovering a human trafficking operation done by his former boss. Since then, he fights to uncover the truth of supernatural beings, hiding those who have been vilified and revealing the true monsters of the story, a very polarizing individual. He often likes messing with people, but encouraging them to become their best selves. Whenever he fights in combat, he uses a chain spear that he flings around. He often likes challenging people in order to unlock their true potential. Damn. Okay, chain spear automatically means like he gets a fair amount of exercise with his arm. So already we know that he's gonna be pretty musky. Let's continue. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much would you say this character sweats? He gets a 10. Very fair. What is this character's hygiene routine? He likes a long bath during his days off, but he showers about every other day. His deodorant says it lasts about 48 hours, and it hasn't failed him that much. Okay. So he roughly has Dom's showering routine. He gets a 6 for showering every so often. Fair. Does he wear deodorant sometimes? Does he have an OC? Does he have an armpit fetish? Yes. Does he have a scenting and or musk fetish? Yes to scenting. Okay. All right. Would you say this character's armpits are fuckable? Yes. Would you describe this character's armpits as lickable? Yes. When creating your OC, did you put much thought into whether or not you wanted their armpits exposed in their design? Why or why not? I considered something more revealing, but I wanted something more mystical. We'll say very hairy armpit. Okay, that's a plus. Is your OC's armpit sensitive? Yes. Ooh, okay. How would your OC respond to having their armpits being worshipped? God, he would absolutely eat that up. He'd keep prodding about how much he enjoys people taking in his pits. Getting some vibes that he really likes dominating some boys with his armpits. Please make one final appeal as to whether you think your OC's armpit should be rated favorably by me. Default reaction to people staring at his pits with absolute desire, shove them in. Very much like Dom in that regard, because that's exactly how he behaves. Is there anything you'd like me to know about this OC before I rate their armpits? He perfectly sleeps with his pits up, warmed, and relishing in his own scent. Very distinctly similar to Dom. So they would get along, I think. These two would probably really enjoy comparing armpits and also taking turns scenting each other. So we're going to go ahead and give this a... I don't know about fuckable, but definitely lickable. 100%. I can see them taking turns licking each other very easily. Fuckable would depend on like some other factors. I think I can see them getting into that, but I think they would be more interested in the smell of each other than actually like doing that, if that makes sense. All right, let's continue. All right, this submission comes from Mel. One of my favorite boys ever. And we all know who this is. Wait. Is this the right? Yes. We got our boy Cloud Strife. All right. I already know where Cloud's going, but I'll read the form. All right. So Cloud is a soldier from Final Fantasy VII. How much would you say this character sweats? He gets a 6 between sweats a small amount and sweats often extremely musky. Personally, I think Cloud would be a 9 just because I've always imagined that Cloud gets really sweaty really quickly. But also I have a huge fetish for this character. What is this character's profession? Mercenary. Would you describe this character's armpits as lickable? Yes, 100% agree. Would you describe this character's armpits as fuckable? Yes, 100% agree. Lastly, please describe what you think this character would smell like if you had the opportunity to smell them in real life. A kid that doesn't shower and then wears way too much Axe. Just completely agree. Like 100% spot on. Cloud gets an S rank. I think we all know this. I think we've all seen the various fetishes that I have for this character. Oh my god. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I think we've all seen the various fetishes that I have for this character. That's links here in the UK. What? Yeah, that's my turn off for Cloud, the obvious Axe body spray. I mean, I can 100% see him wearing Axe body spray, but also I would 100% still fuck the hell out of his pits. Axe is called Lynx here. Oh, that's wild. Fun fact, I've actually had a lot of ideas where Dom does fuck Cloud's armpits, but I've just never been able to get those made. I'm gonna be real, Squall would totally be an Old Spice guy. I can see that, yeah. Alright, so it's obvious that Cloud's gonna get fuckable armpits. Like, there's just no debate there. Like, Dom would absolutely destroy his armpits. All right, next character is another one of my favorite boys. Um, this character is Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden, who has extremely fuckable tits, but we'll get into that another time. All right, so Ryu Hayabusa, he's a ninja. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much would you say this character sweats? 9. I've always imagined that Ryu absolutely reeks of musk and sweat, but also leather. Like, I'd always envisioned that his smell is, like, intoxicating as fuck. He's a ninja who wears a rubber suit. Would you describe this character's armpits as lickable? Yes. Would you describe this character's armpits as fuckable? Yes. If you had the chance to smell this character in real life, what would they smell like? Sandalwood, smoke, and leather. Yeah, like heavily attractive, 100%. I think it goes without saying, Dom would 100% fuck the shit out of Ryu's armpits, and absolutely have a great time doing it. Because this character not only hits all of my fetishes, this character also hits all of his fetishes. So, yeah. I only really know him from DOA. He's very cute there. I think that's actually where I got my fetish for him there, because they made his outfits extremely shiny in that game. And yeah. All right. Let's continue. Okay, next we have Gortash from Baldur's Gate 3. I have some very specific feelings on this character, but I will read the form. Alright, name, Enver Gortash. Briefly tell me some things about this character. Villain, tyrant, artificer. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much would you say this character sweats? Sweats often, extremely musky. Really? Yeah, I guess I can see that. Especially with this coat that he has going on. Yeah, I can see that. What is this character's profession? Bad guy. Would you describe this character's armpits as lickable? No, that's interesting. Would you say this character's armpits are fuckable? Yes. What do you think this character would smell like if you had the opportunity to smell them in real life? Grease, smokes, powder, and electrics. Yeah, I imagine he probably has a very, like, distinctly burning scent. Like, not like a fiery burning scent, more like the smell of, like, an outlet if it's close to catching fire. That kind of smell. So not like a woody fragrance, more like an electrical, like nauseating type of smell. Grease is a good one too. That's a good descriptive factor. Just because Dom is drawn to a strong scents, I have a feeling he would want to sniff him a lot, but I'm not sure he would go much further. Like, I don't think he would kiss or lick him, but I think he would definitely sniff him. Which I feel like I'm putting my OC's dog attributes very much on display here, so that's fun. But yeah, we're gonna give him sniffable. Very funny that both of the Baldur's Gate 3 characters get sniffable so far. Oh my, his concept art is he looks a little like Rob Zombie there. Just a little bit. Let's continue. Okay. I also just should say I'm not drawn to the scent of like workshops or like even like machine what am I going out here? Um like tire shops, like the smell of tire shops and stuff. I'm not drawn to those scents. I don't think Dom would be either. Yet he has a motorcycle, so at the same time maybe he has that kink. I've actually never explored that. I don't know, maybe he does like that smell. All right, let's continue. Next is my OC. I submitted this character myself. because he is mine and belongs to me. All right, so next is Gene, who is one of my dog boy OCs. All right, so describe something about Gene. Gene is a mercenary corps leader in the city of Canis. He's a husky who's fairly tall and well endowed. It can be a little hard for him to find clothes that fit him, so most everything he owns is either tailor made or skin tight. Gene almost constantly has his armpits on display. There's probably not a single outfit that he doesn't wear that doesn't somehow expose his armpits in some way. He sweats often, is an extremely musky boy. He bathes pretty regularly, though, usually with his puppy Dominic if he can. On occasion, he'll make Dominic give him a tongue bath, both as a show of worship and as a sign of loyalty. On some days, he'll purposely not wear deodorant to tease Dom as much as possible. That's pretty regular for them. They have that kind of dynamic. On a scale from 1 to 10, how often would you say he showers? He showers pretty daily. Almost every day after a mission, actually, is usually when Gene showers. And if he can't shower, is usually when he'll call Dom over to his house and Dom will give him a tongue bath. He wears deodorant sometimes. He does prefer to wear deodorant, but he also really likes teasing Dom. So on some days, he'll just tolerate not wearing it just to see Dom's reactions. Surprisingly, he doesn't have an surprisingly, he doesn't have an armpit fetish. A lot of the reasons why he chooses to expose his armpits is just because it's more tactically sound. It's a lot easier to maneuver, and Jin uses his fists as a fighter, so he's a monk, which means like maneuverability is very important to him. But he knows his puppy has an armpit fetish, so that's kind of a plus. Does your OC have a scenting or musk fetish? He doesn't have either, but he loves being objectified. Would you say this character's armpits are fuckable? Yes. Would you say this character's armpits are lickable? Yes. When creating your OC, did you put much thought into whether or not you wanted their armpits exposed in their design? Why or why not? The answer is I think so. The idea was someone who was hot and dominant with a love for form-fitting leathers, so it would make sense for his pits to be exposed, which, yeah. Is your OC's armpit sensitive? Yes. Actually, fun fact, the easiest way to get someone as stoic as Gene to make emotional reactions is to play with his armpits, which Dom exploits almost every time they're together. It's like a fairly intimate thing between the two of them. How would your OC respond to having their armpits worshipped? Jin responds very well to having his armpits worshipped. It's the quickest way to get him to moan and express significant pleasure. Usually a full tongue bath routine's enough to get him hard, which almost immediately leads to a rough sex scene. Yeah, it's very not uncommon for Dom and Gene to get aroused from their tongue bath session, and then they just end up fucking for hours. While Gene doesn't fancy himself an armpit Dom, he's been known to make use of his armpits during negotiation scenes with his puppy, where at times his smell literally forces Dom into submission. Yeah, that's a pretty regular habit during Gene and Dom's dynamic. Is like whenever Dom's being a brat, Gene can usually tame him by forcing him under his armpits. Lastly, Gene has huge tits and a strong hypersexual tendency, though he'll usually only have sex with his pets like Dominic, who he feels safe engaging in fetish with. Not only would Dom fuck Gene's armpits, I would fuck Gene's armpits and happily submit to them. So, obviously, fairly biased here, but he's going to get an S rank listing. All right. Okay, so that was Gene. Next we have Halsin from Baldur's Gate 3, which hilariously was my romance in my first Baldur's Baldur Gate 3, yes. Actually, yes, there is an OC I wouldn't give an S rank. I would not give Bo an S rank if he was submitted, just because Bo, I wouldn't really describe him as having fuckable armpits. I mean, definitely lickable and definitely kissable, but probably not fuckable. Like during Bo and Dom's interactions, I don't really think Dom would ever fuck Bo's armpits for any reason. They just don't really have that kind of appeal, which is fine. All right. Tell me some things about this character. Bear of, I don't know what any of this stuff means, but okay, I'll try and decipher this. Bear and elf, very sweet and kind man who's also a total freak. Yeah, I would agree with that. Given the fact that he is who I romance in Baldur's Gate 3, the interactions between Dom and Halsin were basically Dom was the dominant and Halsin was his muscle sub. Bear of an elf. Okay, that makes sense. You did, but it's okay. All right, let's continue. How much would you say this character sweats? Towards extremely musky. I would agree. Part of the reason why Halsin was Dom's romance is because he just struck me as a very musky character, and I can totally see Dom keeping someone like this as his muscle sub so that he can just sniff and lick and worship him however he pleases. What is this character's profession? Druid. Yeah, 100% agree with that. How often would you say this character showers? 7. Yeah, I would say so. Especially because he's a druid and like living as an animal for a long period of time. Like, I mean, he was a bear for who knows how long in the goblin prison. I can't imagine you would get regular showers too often. What is this character's net hygiene routine? He only washed in natural sources of water. Yeah, that tracks. Would you describe this character's armpits as lookable? Yes. Would you describe this character's armpits as fuckable? Yes. What would you think this character smells like? Petrichor, plants, smoke, and musk. Hate the smell of petrichor. Absolutely despise it. Plants are okay. Smoke is okay if it's clean smoke, and musk obviously is a yes. Halsin is a very stinky bear, yeah, like Ebby said. And I can imagine Dom's dynamic with him being fairly degradatory. Especially because Dom really likes humiliating his subs for how they smell, but also dominating them with his own scent. And that's how I imagine Dom and Halsin's relationship went when they were paired together. And for virtue of that fact, I think I can say that Halsin has pretty fuckable armpits, but also I'm kind of between, because while Dom would 100% worship the shit out of them, I'm not necessarily sure he would fuck them because that's more an honor. So I'm kind of between, but I think I will give him fuckable armpits just because I personally would probably fuck Halsin's armpits. And welcome. Yes, there are a lot of armpits on screen right now. Okay, so that is going to be our halfway point. We're going to take our ad break now, so we'll be back in 3 minutes, and then we will continue the ratings. So don't go anywhere, and do remember that if you have not already, you can submit your characters to the form. Just make sure that you tell me you did it so that I know to refresh the list, and then we will continue. All right, welcome back to stream. Oh, this is the wrong one. Welcome back to stream. I hope that you're all hope that you all enjoyed those ads. For those of you just getting in, we are doing a armpit rating tier list stream where you guys submit me your OCs or characters that you like, and I get to rate their armpits. We are still taking submissions. If you want to submit, all you have to do is fill out this form. I will advise you to fill out as much of the form as possible, as your ratings will solely depend on the answers you give me, and not on any of the images that you send me or anything of that nature. However, we will be reviewing the characters that you submit, as well as reading the form, so do bear all of that in mind. Welcome back. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. You gave me another guy. Okay. Let me quickly add that guy on here. Sorry, this is a fairly elaborate process. Not elaborate as in like hard. It's just I have to go into like a special folder, and I don't want to have all that on stream. Oh, I see. I was kind of surprised you didn't do this first. Not gonna lie. I also realize I don't have any pics of him in his current outfit that exposes his pits. That's okay. It is okay. All right, we have a new contestant. To be honest, I thought it'd be too easy. I don't know why it would be too easy. I mean, I'm literally asking for people to submit their OCs. Like, you can submit whatever you want, as long as it goes within the rules. The only thing I would say no to is if someone submits a character from a book, because obviously I can't rate that, or a character from a TV show because I said I'm not rating that, or a VTuber who I would immediately just disregard because I already said I'm not doing that. But nobody did any of that. Everyone played by my rules this time. Thank God, because that is the most stressful part of doing these streams, is people who don't. And in the past, there have been many who did not. All right. So, let me walk through this with people who are new or just getting in. We are rating these on a tier list. I got shy about submitting Citrus. No, go ahead. Submit Citrus. Do it. He's your OC. Go for it. All right. So top rank tier is fuckable. This is the highest honor that you can get on the list. Second top rank tier is lickable. Then there is kissable, sniffable, would worship once, would fantasize about, and finally not interested. It is very important to note that if you get the not interested rating, it does not mean there's anything wrong with your character. It just means that your character's armpits would not be my kink, and that is totally fine. Because we don't kink shame here. So there we go. All right, let's continue. All right, we have another one of Rory's submissions. That's fine. You don't have to if you don't want to. I'm just saying you can. Like, it's okay for you to. All right. This is Anduin. Anduin Rin. He is the King of Stormwind and High King of Alliance, currently hiding from his responsibilities after being made to do some very awful things via mind domination. Bit of a sad, wet cat of a man, but very sweet and willing to see the best in other people. On a scale from 1 to 10, how would you say this character? How often would you say this character sweats? Rory gave him an 8, which means he's sweats fairly often. I can see that. Forgive me for saying so, but he reminds me of a Dark Souls character. And I have always personally headcanoned most From Software characters to absolutely reek because they're either like in tattered, disgusting garments, or like you can tell like they clearly don't value hygiene because their world obviously doesn't value that kind of thing. They have more important things to worry about. Um, but he gives me like Elden Ring vibes, and like every Elden Ring character I looked at when I was playing this game, just I imagine they probably smell absolutely awful. Um, I have two strong feelings if my OC gets compliments from someone I care a lot. Okay, I mean that's fair. He's been wearing that outfit for 5 years now. He disappeared for 5 years. Yeah, he's probably a pretty musky boy then. All right, let's continue. What is this character's profession? King. Would you describe this character's armpits as lookable? Yes. Would you describe this character's armpits as fuckable? Yes. Um, what do you think this character would smell like if he has the opportunity to smell them in real life? Mostly sweat, musky, metallic from his armor, and whatever the light might smell like. I don't know if the light has a smell. Um, but armor definitely has a smell, and I absolutely imagine that his 100% reeks. Like, probably like because like sweat leaves that like film behind on metal, and it has like that really like rustic, like earthy combined smell, and it's very off-putting. At the same time, Dom would absolutely adore it, and while I don't think he would lick his armpits exactly, he would 100% kiss them. Um, and I can see like a worship Dom thing going on between these two. So I'm gonna give him kissable. He's gonna be our first kissable rank. And it's kind of funny because you say that he's been in hiding for 5 years. So imagining him being in hiding for 5 years with his own personal like armpit slave is kind of funny. So there we go. That ends that one. Let's continue. All right, next we have another one of my favorite boys, and one that we saw naked fairly recently, actually. Um, and that would be Leon S. Kennedy. So once again, biased here, but let's continue. Leon's a government agent who works to put an end to biological warfare in the Resident Evil universe. How often would you say this character sweats? I gave Leon a 4 just because I don't imagine him being a fairly musky boy. I also think that he wears a lot of cologne and stuff like that. He strikes me as the kind of guy who'd probably wear like um maybe Dracar Noir or something like that. Where like it has a fairly strong smell, but like not really a bad smell. Although I really hate the smell of Dracar Noir. It's so overpowering and gross. It is not my favorite. It is not my favorite cologne by any means. I grew up with that smell because my dad used to be obsessed with it, and I absolutely know that smell now when I smell it, and it's so revolting. Um, but I can imagine Leon smelling like it. CK1. I don't know that one. If that's a cologne brand, I don't know it. For reference, I wear Prada, which is also fairly overwhelming. So I guess I can't really talk. Okay, continuing. Um, what is this character's profession? Leon's a government agent. How would you describe this character's armpits as lickable? Yes. Would you say this character's armpits are fuckable? Yes. On average, how often would you say you fantasize about this character dominating you with their armpits? I gave Leon a 8 because, yeah, I have had a lot of fantasies about that. Please describe what you think this character would smell like if you had the opportunity to smell them in real life. I think Leon would smell fairly nice with a sour musk underneath, like a really good gym workout. Yeah. So my idea with Leon here, I really think Leon's probably a gym boy. So like on his off days, he's probably like regularly working out or like exercising and stuff like that. And if you've ever been to the gym while also wearing like cologne or some kind of like aftershave or something like that, there's like a fairly sour smell that develops on your skin, and that is what I imagine Leon smells like. Um, And for the record, Dom absolutely adores that smell. Um, because it's also a smell that he works up himself. Um, so I guess what I'm trying to say here is that Dom would absolutely fuck the shit out of Leon's armpits and not feel any shame about it. You guys knew that all of my favorites were going to get S ranks. I don't know why you're surprised. If you're surprised, you shouldn't be. I talk about these characters all the time. Like, if they weren't going to get S ranks, who would? I've never smelled that one. I don't think I've ever smelled Calvin Klein, but Calvin Klein's never been a brand that I've, like, go towards. I used to stick a lot to Express's scents because Express had a lot of really fruity, very strong, woody scents that I really liked. And I also used to stick a lot to Kenneth Cole. And then my brother um, started wearing Prada. And whenever we were whenever we went to that music festival, um, he had that Prada cologne on, and I asked him what it was because that smell was amazing. It smells kind of like vanilla a little bit, but it also has like I don't know how to describe it. But it's like a Swedish smell, and Mel said that she really liked it too whenever she smelled it. But that's what I wear now because I really like that smell a lot. It also comes in a really pretty blue bottle and is very expensive. But anyway, let's continue. You probably have in your teens. I think it was super popular. Maybe the most popular smell I associate my teens with is Axe, and not gonna lie, that's probably where my armpit fetish came from. Or not, maybe not the armpit fetish, but definitely scenting. Anyway, moving on. Next we have Ryza, CK1 for summer, Tom Ford. Yo, yes, I love Black Orchid. I don't know if it's that Black Orchid. I think I might have had that Black Orchid once because Tom Ford used to be a scent that I go to. Yes, I think it was. I think it was Tom Ford. That is one of my favorite scents ever. They sold it at Express, I think. I had one bottle of it. I grew absolutely addicted, and then I could never find it again. I actually have it on my throne, I think, because I found it online, and I've never been able to buy it again. I think it is on there. There's a couple of Tom Fords on my throne. Like there's a leather one, and then there's yeah, because I suggested it. Oh, okay, yeah, there you go. Tried sending you a sample of my goodie box, but I think it didn't make it. Oh, yeah, maybe not, because I don't have one. I have this really good smelling sampler from, I think it's Black Dragon Alchemy or something like that. That got suggested to me. I think it was last year. I keep it in my coat, but I haven't worn my coat in like 7 months. Oh man, that probably smells so horrible now in that pocket. Might want to check on that. Anyway, continuing. All right, we're gonna rate Ryza now. So Ryza is Ryza's OC, who was in chat a moment ago. Ryza is a vampire pirate who works hard to get his ship and crew from place to place on their adventures. He loves to flirt, explore, and make new friends. He's also a kinky slut. Yep, can confirm. Ryza says that his character sweats fairly often and is extremely musky, so we're going the opposite direction with vampires here, because the first vampire we rated, the headcanon was that he didn't sweat that much, and this one's headcanon is that he does, so that's pretty interesting. He bathes once a day, often at night, nothing fancy. He showers rarely, if ever. kind of makes sense. I mean, I think a pretty fair I think a pretty fair I think a pretty fair thing with being out at sea is probably that you don't shower that often, um, which is probably contributes to why every time you see like a pirate in like a movie or something, they're like dirty or grungy. This is clever. Is this clever use of mage hand happening? Yep, looks like it. Let's continue. Um, does your character wear deodorant? Sometimes. Does your character have an armpit fetish? Yes, can confirm. Does your OC have a scenting and or musk fetish? Yes, musk, can confirm. Would you say this character's armpits are fuckable? Yes. Would you say this character's armpits are lickable? Yes. When you're creating your OC, did you put much thought into whether or not you wanted their armpits exposed in their design? Why or why not? Yes, I asked for them to be exposed in certain art because I myself am a musk slut. Fun fact, I do the same thing. Um, I usually mention in all of the details of my commissions that if possible, I would like Dom's armpits to be exposed. Um, because it is my goal to make sure that every time my dog boy is depicted in extremely controversial sexual positions, that his armpits are on full display because he is a total slut. Anyway, um, is your character's armpit sensitive? Yes. How would your OC respond to their armpits being worshipped? He'd be surprised, then push the worshipper's face deeper in. Yeah, that makes sense. Please make one final appeal as to why you think your OC's armpit should be rated favorably by me. He enjoys them being worshipped, plus he would happily worship yours back tenfold. Yep, the dynamic between Ryza and Dom is pretty much that. Um, Ryza, Dom makes Ryza worship his armpits, and Dom usually worships them back in kind. Um, so yeah, that's Ryza. Much like VK, I already have a fairly god damn it. I already have a fairly biased view on where this character would go. Dom has pretty regularly made use of Rise's armpits as fuck toys. And he would probably continue doing so in the future. So obviously, he has fuckable armpits. Man, we have so much more S ranks than I thought. I blame the favorites being up there, but you know, that's how it be. That's how it be. All right, let's continue. Actually, it's not surprising that we have so many S ranks because, to be honest, the first thing I think of when I look at a character is whether or not I would fuck their armpits. Which probably says something about me. But anyway. All right, next we have one of Goth Fox's Final Fantasy 14 OZs, Chormagan. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but I hope that I did. All right, so let's read a little bit about this. Okay, Chormagan was orphaned at an early age and survived through the calamity. Growing up in Thanalan, he admired his heroes only to see some of the stars worst and uncaring. He vowed to stand against different injustices with some of his vigilante work. As a Dark Knight, he fueled each swing with his distaste for those who often mistreat anyone who was either misunderstood or simply marginalized. As he eventually learned more about himself and fought for the place he wanted to call home, while finding his own home, he ended up being a philanthropist who gives back to people he fights for. Nowadays, he's a traveling barista and a young adult author and illustrator. Oh, that's cute. Ah, so it's Shormagan. Got it. How often would you say this character sweats? Sweats often, extremely musky. Yeah, I can see it, especially if he still lives in the desert. Um, you know, having a character who also, for a time, spent much of his days in the desert. Yeah, can confirm. Um, what is his character's hygiene routine? He loves a good bath after traveling. He has a tendency to smell along the lines of sweet herbal or coffee or and tea. And we have a saying where one smells like the sun. A bit where the hot days would sometimes haunt him more than the supernatural beings he finds. Okay, already Dom would 100% be attracted to that scent, especially the tea one. Because part of the reason why Dom serves tea during his sessions is because of the scent. On a scale from 1 to 10, how often would you say this character showers? A 6. Yeah, that's fair. Does your OC wear deodorant sometimes? See, this raises the question of whether or not deodorant even exists in the Final Fantasy XIV universe, which, I mean, I guess your answer varies there. Personally, I've always thought no, which is why Dom does other things to keep himself fresh, but, you know, I guess everyone has their own headcanon there. Does your OC have an armpit fetish? Yes. Does your OC have a scenting and or musk fetish? Yes, musk. Would you say this character's armpits are fuckable? Yes, I would agree. Would you say this character's armpits are lickable? Yes, also would agree. When creating your OC, did you put much thought into whether or not you wanted their armpits exposed in their design? Why or why not? If 14 actually gave us hairier pits, yes. Okay, fair. Is your OC's armpit sensitive? Yes. How would your OC respond to their armpits being worshipped? He would be blushing like hell and would honestly shirk in amusement. Aw, that's cute. Please make one final appeal as to why you think your OC's armpit should be rated favorably by me. He's a sweaty, submissive Aura who's into primal play. Of course, he would love every single moment of objectifying, and it would make him even more feral. Aw, that's cute. I can imagine Dom keeping him on a leash then for that very purpose. Is there anything else you would like me to know about this OC before I rate their armpits? Sensitive isn't just the word I describe Schmagen's pits. He's a loud boy who enjoys every moment people take control of him. Oh, he's a natural puppy. I mean, I'd say it's Charlayan enough, and Yulmore does have that rose-scented thing. Not in the way we would, but scented stuff and powders to help absorb certainly have existed for a long time. Oh yeah, like talcum powder. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah. That makes sense. So, I don't know if Dom would fuck this character's armpits exactly, because that, again, would be an honor. But I can definitely see him having a type of dynamic with Dom where, like, he will play with his armpits, or, like, he'll scent them, or lick them, or, like, kiss them, and beg for Shormagon to do something that makes Dom fuck his armpits. So, they would have a fairly depraved dynamic. And for that, I would say that he would get a lickable rating. And honestly, if they had a dynamic between them, I think that his goal would probably be to get Dom to fuck his armpits, which fairly hot dynamic, not gonna lie. But yeah, there we go with that one. All right, let's continue. All right, next we have, hold on. I gotta sound this out in my head. Is it Krishostimo? Krishostimo? Cristo for short. Cristo? Maybe? I'm gonna go with that. If it's wrong, you're welcome to correct me. This is another one of Gothfox's OCs. Cristo is the man who crossed the salt from Jacques Tural and grew into financial power by establishing trade and goodwill to the people of Eorzea. He is also a Pictomancer Vigilante who strikes at the rich and leaves everything and everyone vandalized as the Flaming Coyote. Cute! He often hides between disguises that for the past couple of decades, no one figured out it was him except for one person in the syndicate he loves to torment. Unlike his son, who usually keeps a clean, fragrant, and classy cabaret style, his is more like a 70s Californication vibe. Oh, and he's a glutton for being overly dramatic, aroused, and obnoxiously flirty. Aww. It's a play on Chrysostimo. It's a very archaic Spanish name. So Chrysostimo. Chrysostimo. Chrysostimo? Chrysostimo. Okay. Okay. Got it. On a scale from 1 to 10, how often would you say this character sweats? He gave him a 9, which means that he's fairly musky. That's fair. Character's hygiene routine: as much as he likes bathing and being decorated by the lavish scents of Ul'dah and Thavnair's perfumes, he is also ridiculously scatterbrained and forgets to shower sometimes. Oh, so we have a musky merchant on our hands. On a scale from 1 to 10, how often would you say this character showers? He gave him a 9, rarely if ever. Does your character wear deodorant sometimes? We have yet to see one character OC that does wear deodorant. It's wild. Does your OC have an armpit fetish? Yes. Does your OC have a scenting and or musk fetish? Yes. Musk. Would you say this character's armpits are fuckable? Yes. Would you say this character's armpits are lickable? Yes. When creating your OC, did you put much thought into whether or not you wanted their armpits exposed in their design? I designed this mid-40s Mikote to have a hairy, slightly musky man who would gladly flash his whole torso if given the chance. I can see that. Is your OC's armpits sensitive? Yes. How would your OC respond to their armpits being worshipped? You know how a motorcycle revs up a lot? Same principle, minus the drooling mess this man tends to be. Oh, God. He would probably turn into an absolute goon for Dom then. If I were to tell you, please make your one final appeal as to why your OC's armpit should be rated favorably by me. If I were to tell you what he would say in response to having his pits used in various ways, it would simply be please, 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 please. Okay, yeah, 100% goon vibes. He's honestly a sweet man who would look after anyone who needs it. If he existed in our modern day, he's 100% a leather daddy at a pride parade who would protect the hell out of everyone. I can see that. That's very apparent. Yeah. I can see that. So, pretty much, I think the rating here would be similar to Shormagon's. Except the dynamic would be different. So I don't think Dom would make Krishashto's I don't think Dom would make Krishashto beg to have his armpits fucked. I think it would be more that he loves to make Krishashto so horny that he just goons himself into exploding everywhere. And that would just kind of be their dynamic. So I would say that this one's armpits are kissable. For the sole virtue of Dom would probably kiss him until he just explodes all over himself. All right, let's continue. We got a lot of fairly depraved dynamics here. I'm loving this. All right, next we have Viri, who has some lovely art done by Mel. We got a couple of arts of Viri actually. So let's look at some of these arts. So first we have the obligatory armpit shot art from Mel. Very cute. Love the blushing expression and the exposed hairs. And then we have a very cute meme picture here of Viri wagging his tail in that meme outfit that was going around a while back. And we have a fairly athletic picture here too, which already this just gives me Jock Boy vibes, which means that his pits absolutely reek. 100%. Which, to be fair, is the same vibe I have for Dom. So I have never seen him. Well, there you go. Now you're seeing him. Fun fact, I actually spent 3 weeks researching Tarali Mikote lore just to give him the right name, so it was annoyingly tedious. Oh, I can imagine. All right, let's learn about Viri. What is this character's name? Viri. Viri is a werewolf Jimbro, fantasy monster college athlete and all-around himbo. He grew up in the wilderness with his werewolf family and stumbled his way into college more out of curiosity and dumb luck than an interest in higher education. He now spends his days at the gym or participating in various sports, hanging out with the weird queer friend group he managed to find, gaming and partying. God, Dom would absolutely trip over everything for this vibe. Oof. Yeah. Okay. I already kind of know where this is gonna rate, but I'll continue reading the form. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much would you say this character sweats? An 8, so he's pretty musky. What is his hygiene routine? He'll shower after the gym if he gets called out for being smelly. He's very used to going without showering for a while and is not a huge fan of water, but will overcome that discomfort for his friends. That's very fair and very, very similar to Dom. On a scale from 1 to 10, how often would you say this character showers? It's in the mid-range, so yeah, that makes sense. Does your character wear deodorant sometimes? Does your character have an OC have an armpit fetish? Wow, shocking. The answer is no. Does your OC have a scenting and or musk fetish? Yes, has a fetish for musk. Would you say this character's armpits are fuckable? Yes, I would agree. Would you describe this character's armpits as lickable? Yes, I would agree. When creating your OC, did you put much thought into whether or not you wanted their armpits exposed in their design? I did put thought into what his armpits should look like from the beginning. I knew he was going to be a classic jock himbo type, and I really liked the idea that he looks really dominant, masculine, and intimidating, so that the contrast to his kind personality would be greater. And in my head, a sweaty, hairy armpit represents that the best. Totally agree. I think you captured it. Is your OC's armpit sensitive? Yes. How would your OC respond to their armpits being worshipped? He assumes everyone is obsessed with smell as he is, so he would react favorably. It's hard for him to be actually dominant, especially in a more mean way on purpose, if he doesn't know you enjoy that part of it too. So he'd probably just get flustered and happy that you enjoy his smell and body so much. Oh, that's so cute. Oh gosh. Yeah, Dom would have an absolute field day with this. Please make one final appeal as to why you think your OC's armpit should be rated favorably by me. Viri is a good dog. He is a fluffy and hairy dude. So if you have nothing against the hair, and if you like big, muscular, smelly guy who will act all blushy and overwhelmed when you play with his pets, he's the right dog for the job. 100% agreed. Is there anything else you want me to know about this OC before I rate their armpits? As mentioned above, he is a very good dog. A very good dog indeed. Very cute. I think he has a very adorable design. And character. I liked reading a lot about his character too. Me, fuck it. There's some Vera tribe that uses Irish. I like what the team did in terms for the more latter localization etymology. See, I've never been that interested in delving into the naming conventions of Final Fantasy XIV. I tried once, and then I found role players that like don't even care about it. So I was just like, fuck it. Dom's name is Dom now. I'm not even gonna try and make it anything else. I don't know. It feels appropriate in some ways and less appropriate in others. I guess it depends on how seriously you want to take the lore. But anyway, let's get back to rating. I think Viri and Dom would have a fairly adorable dynamic together. And I can totally see Dom responding to Viri in a positive way, especially because Dom is also a gym slut. So yeah, we're gonna give Viri very fuckable armpits because I can 100% see Dom teasing the shit out of Viri and also fucking his armpits. Thank you for your submission. I really enjoyed reading about your character, Viri. Let's continue. We're nearing the end of the list, so if anybody else has any more submissions, you are more than welcome to submit them. Please know that once we reach the end of the list, that is the end of the stream. So if you want to see this continue, you are welcome to submit more characters. Speaking of characters, I'm noticing my OCs have a very fuck the oligarchy and we will give back our wealth to those who need it vibe. Yes, they do. I noticed that myself. I am so happy to hear that. Yeah, for sure. This submission comes from Ebby. This is Dracula. So we have another vampire. You guys are really, really obsessed with me rating vampires, I guess. Oh, this is a very small image. Hold on. Let me see if I can zoom into this. Okay. It just gets worse. All right. We'll just have to go with this. This is fine. All right. Let's continue. This character's from a series. It's from Castlevania. Briefly tell me some things about this character. I mean, Dracula. Fair. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much would you say this character sweats? Sweats a small amount, fairly clean. So Ebby sounds like he's going with the idea that vampires do not sweat. Alucard isn't on there, is he? Nope. No one submitted Alucard. Not that I see. What is this character's profession? Being sad. Ebby, please. On a scale from 1 to 10, how often would you say this character showers? Rarely, if ever. I can see that. I think Dracula would smell like. Okay, have you ever been in a old record store? Because we had quite a few old record stores near where I lived growing up, and they have that very distinct smell of like age. Um, for some reason, I think he would probably smell like that. Oh, thank you. We will use this photo. Yeah, it's better. Musty book smell. Yeah, except I don't think it's a musky book smell so much as just like a combination of like the smell of like, because like record stores usually sell like incense and stuff, right? So like a combination of that smell and like musky books and also whatever the hell a record is made out of. Vivian Ruhig, thank you so much for the follow and welcome to the dungeon. I hope you enjoy your stay. What? What? I'm moving on. Um, what is this character's hygiene routine? He's a vampire. I don't think he has anything to do but maybe wipe blood away from the body sometimes. Yeah, that's fair. Would you describe this character's armpits as lickable? Yes. Would you describe this character's armpits as fuckable? Yes. If I were to compare armpits with this character, who would win? They would. That's oh my, that's that's goading, Ebby. How on average, how often would you say you fantasize about this character dominating you with their armpits? Rarely. Okay, that's fair. Please describe what you think this character would smell like if you have the opportunity to smell them in real life. Candle wax, smoke, dust, and musk. Yeah. Yep. Candle wax especially. That's a very distinct smell, actually. Gonna follow and dash because I'm off the bed, but I hope you have a great night, man. You too. Thank you so much for the follow. He's the Dracula. You're a puppy. Wow. Very rude, but fair. I don't actually think I know what candle wax would smell like. I think there's like an old smell in some churches that might be candle wax, maybe. Interesting. Okay. All right. So here's the thing. Um like I said before with puppies smell like popcorn when happy, so it's too cute, which is why he would win. I don't know. I don't think Dom's ever smelled like popcorn, so that's a very interesting take. I think I'm gonna go with sniffable just because I think it would be a smell that would make Dom really curious, but I'm not sure if he would like it. But I think he would like it enough to be intrigued by it. My friend's dog smelled like Whatsits when he was a puppy. I don't know what a Whatsit is, but that's pretty wild. He's a dog, so he must. I have no idea. I don't know what. I mean, maybe. I don't know. That's an interesting consideration. Thank you for adding it to my list of things to think about. All right, let's continue the ratings. Next we have Thanatos from Hades. What's this character's name? Thanatos. Thanatos is the Greek embodiment of death and has a Cinderella relationship with Zagreus, son of Hades. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much would you say this character sweats? They say a 2. I've always imagined Thanatos as a really sweaty boy just because he's always fighting. But who knows? What is this character's profession? Death. On a scale from 1 to 10, how often would you say this character showers? Rarely, if ever. Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think he puts too high a priority on on showering or even staying clean for that matter. What is this character's hygiene routine? He does not need any, except possible skin care by bathing in blood at the Temple of Styx. Yeah, I can see that. Would you describe this character's armpits as lickable? Yes, I would agree. Would you say this character's armpits are fuckable? No? Yeah, I think I would agree with that. If I were to compare characters with this armpits with this character, who would win? They say I would win. That's fairly flattering. On average, how often would you say you fantasize about this character dominating you with their armpits? They gave a 9, which is pretty rare. What do you think this character would smell like if you had the opportunity to smell them in real life? A faint, muted, corpse-like odor somewhere over the horizon. So kind of like the smell of death. Interesting. Oh, thank you. I don't believe we rated the characters that smell like death very highly. Just because that isn't really a smell that... I think I'm going to go with lickable. And the reason why I say lickable is because while I have often imagined the various armpits of characters in Hades, I have not imagined them as fuckable. I have, however, always imagined them as worshipable. In that Dom would absolutely worship them. So I think that's probably a good place to put them. It's not a nice smell, but it's kind of a sweet smell. I would not know. Surprisingly, I would not know. All right, so we got another submission on here. Let me add it real quick. You put his job as being sad too. Oh my god. All right, let's continue. Okay, next we have another dog. You can't. That would be a real person. Unless there's like a fictional embodiment of him. But you would have to add the actor. Our next one is Dommy. Well, the red version of him. Who is a submission by Mel. So this is the various images of Red Dom that Mel has drawn over the years. I could only submit 5 because I had to submit 4 Mel, by the way, because she was at work for a lot of this. So she gave me the answers and I put them on the form. All right, so let's rate the Pit Dom himself and see what where we fall here, because I think we all know already that I have already written Dom and Dommy as fucking each other and exploring each other's armpits. So yeah. All right, what's this character's name? Dominic Wolf. This character is from a series, which he is. He's from To Make an Alpha. Dominic is a full-time mercenary who moonlights as a professional dominant, adult video producer, and more. On a scale from 1 to 10, how often would you say this character sweats? Mel said 7, which, yeah, that's about right. Probably a little bit more. I would probably put Dom at about a 9, but 7 sounds fair. What is this character's profession? Mercenary and dominant of the princess room. Would you describe this character's armpits as lickable? Yes. Would you describe this character's armpits as fuckable? Yes. Please describe what you think this character would smell like if you had the opportunity to smell them in real life. Leather, sweat, and earthy musk. Dom's armpits probably reek from days of being unwashed at a time, since he's a pit dom and he dominates others with his scent, with distinct small traces when he wears deodorant for his other duties. He loves oranges, and all of his soaps are scented as them, so there's probably a citrus spice there too. So yeah, that's Dom. Um, obviously we're gonna put Dom in the fuckable category because I, I've written extensively on social media about how many times I fantasized about fucking Dom's armpits. So I just don't think it would make sense to put him very lower. Not to mention Dom, uh, Red Dom has, no, Purple Dom has fucked Red Dom's armpits before. Um, so it just makes the most sense. All right, let's continue. Next, we have Daniel. I believe this is Ben's submission. Possibly. Wait. Wait. Something's missing. Oh shit, I didn't put the new character on there. Okay, now it makes sense. All right, there we go. All right, let's read about Daniel. But first, let's put him up on the screen. All right. OC. Daniel is an 80s style fitness and yoga himbo, the only issue being that he loves a lot of fatty foods. Still incredibly flexible and in shape. He's just your friend, fuck, buddy, jock with a belly. I think that meant to say friendly. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much do you say this character sweats? They were given a 7, which is closer to sweats often extremely musky. I don't know if I would agree with that because I do know that yoga is fairly sweaty as an activity, and I do know that yoga studios very easily become overpowering with the smell of like musk and just sweat in general. So I think I would probably put that in about a 9, but let's continue. What's his character's hygiene routine? He showers often, does skincare, and even shaved his pits. That said, he doesn't have a whole lot of workout gear, and when busy, he can forget to do things. Plus, if he knows he's meeting with a guy who likes it funky, he will intentionally skip. Okay, so pretty much like Dom. Not everyone sweats at the same rate. That's true. On a scale from 1 to 10, how often would you say this character showers? He showers pretty regularly. Does your OC wear deodorant? Sometimes. Yet another OC that sometimes wears deodorant. Does your OC have an armpit fetish? Yes. Does your OC have a scenting or musk fetish? No to both, but loves being objectified. Would you say this character's armpits are fuckable? Yes. I would agree with that. Would you say this character's armpits are lickable? Yes. Also agree with that. When creating your OC, did you put much thought about whether or not you wanted their armpits exposed in their design? Why or why not? Nope, this was an adopt. Is your OC's armpit sensitive? No. How would you like your OC, or how would your OC respond to their armpits being worshipped? You like that? Want to get your face deep in there? Okay, so more like taunting, it sounds like. Please make one final appeal as to why you think your OC's armpit should be favorably by me, because he sees a guy like Dommy and just knows the puppy would want some submissive time and offer it whenever he wants. Yeah, that sounds pretty accurate. Is there anything else you would like me to know about your OC before I rate their armpits? He will cob it on you like a boss. Okay. All right. So all of that being said, I think the vibes here would be more like affectionate puppy in terms of like Dom wanting to lick his armpits clean, but I don't know about fuckable exactly. I think he would probably fuck them if he was given the permission to, but I think just being able to lick them and like be able to like sniff them and rub his face against them is probably more what he'd want. So we're gonna put Thaniel on the tier of lickable. I think that makes the most sense. All right, let's continue. And once again, I forget to change my window. Let's continue. We're nearing the end. We got 3 more submissions to go, and then that's it. So if you want to submit, you can do so here. Next, we have a submission by Ebby. This is Baizu from Genshin Impact. Full disclosure, I am not a fan of Genshin Impact, but I will read the form. We'll see what this says. This character is from a series. He's the owner of a pharmacy and studies immortality. He's physically in bad shape himself because of the curse he bears and can't run long times, for example. How much would you say this character sweats? Ebby gave him a 7. Okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. What is this character's profession? He's a doctor and master of the medicinal arts. On a scale from 1 to 10, how often would you say this character showers? Daily. I can see that. He doesn't strike me as a character that gets dirty very easily. Ooh, we almost have an ad break, but I need to sleep that. What is this character's hygiene routine? I would like to think he's very clean. Yeah, because he does run a pharmacy. He probably smells a lot like herbs and like powders, probably. So he probably has like a fairly clean smell to him, I would say. Would you describe this character's armpits as lickable? Yes. So this right here makes me think maybe they could be. I do like this. Like when a character has like a t-shirt on, but like it only barely covers their armpits. That type of thing. I also imagine that this top is fairly tight as well, especially since I believe this is silk, and I believe silk is a fairly tightly fitting material, or like more a form-fitting material, like a smoother type of material. Would you describe this character's armpits as fuckable? Yes. If I compared armpits with this character, who would win? I would. Oh, that's flattering. On average, how often would you say you fantasize about this character dominating you with their armpits? Rarely. Please describe how you think this character would smell like if you had the opportunity to smell them in real life. Herbs, medicine, fresh in general. I would agree. I think this would probably go under the rank of sniffable, maybe. It looks like most herby characters, like characters that smell like herbs and stuff, are probably under the rank of sniffable so far. That seems to be where we've put them. So I think that's where I would put that. I think Dom would be intrigued by the smell, but I'm not sure he'd go further with it. But if he was invited to, I think he probably would want... He'd probably lick, or at least kiss them. Dom doesn't like nature. Got it. That's not true. He just doesn't like really strong scents. Or like really medicinal scents, I guess. Alright, let's continue. Next, we have Rory. I already know where this one's gonna rate, but we'll read the form anyway. This is another one where I'm biased. We have Rory Buakala, I think is how you pronounce that. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, you can correct me. Tell me about your OC. I think you know him fairly well. Well, that's a cop-out because nobody else does. I was super lazy, by the way. Oh, God. Okay. On a scale from 1 to 10, how often would you say this character sweats? At a 3, he sweats a small amount, fairly clean. Judging by the interactions he's had with Dom, I think that's probably true. What is this character's hygiene routine? He loves baths, will soak at any opportunity. If not, will shower before/after going places. Yeah, that sounds about right. Why is he not on screen? Buakala. Okay, Buakala. I was close. On a scale from 1 to 10, how often would you say this character showers? Rory gave him a 1 daily. Yeah, that makes sense. Does your OC wear deodorant? No. Interesting. Does your OC have an armpit fetish? No. But his master does. Anyway, moving on. Does your OC have a scenting or musk fetish? No to both, but loves being objectified. Yep, that makes sense. Would you say this character's armpits are fuckable? No. Dom would not agree with that. Would you describe this character's armpits as lickable? Yes. Dom would agree with that. When creating your OC, did you put much thought in whether or not you wanted your armpits exposed in their design? Some of his glamours have his armpits out, but it's more to see his arms than his pits. Makes sense. Is your OC's armpit sensitive? Yes. Can't agree with that. How would you feel your OC responds to their armpits being worshipped? He'd feel a little weird about it as it's not his thing, but it'd depend on who he's with. That makes sense, yeah. Please make one final appeal as to where your OC's armpit should be rated favorably by me. You put a smiley face. Is there anything else you'd like me to know about this OC before I rate their armpits? He loves Dommy. Oh, that's so cute. So despite Rory feeling like Rory's armpits aren't fuckable, Dom, however, has probably fucked his armpits. I don't know if we've ever done that scene, but I want to say probably so. So I'm tempted to put him between lickable and fuckable. Let's do lickable because I think Dom's at least done that much. But Dom would 100% fuck Rory's armpits. Oh heck, it's already midnight. I have work tomorrow. Gotta go. Good night. Thank you for a funny stream. You're welcome. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you have a good day at work tomorrow and sleep well. Bye, Abby. All right, we have one more submission. He's made Worry lick his a lot. That's true. I feel like they did the opposite too, maybe, but I don't know. I'd have to go through things, and I'm just too lazy. All right, let's continue. Our last one is Alucard, another one of my favorite boys, because you all know me so well. All right, let's read about Alucard. Vlad Tepes' son, you know who he is. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much would you say this character sweats? Gothfox gave him an 8. I don't know about that. Alucard's always struck me as a fairly clean, pretty boy. But he does wear head-to-toe leather, and I know that leather sweats very easily. So, yeah, maybe. What is this character's profession? Belmont Sugar Daddy. Am I wrong? No, I don't think that's wrong. On a scale from 1 to 10, how often would you say this character showers daily? Yeah, I can see that. What is this character's hygiene routine? He honestly would have baths that use oils and have a sacred use like rosemary to ward off demons, sage, etc. So here's a fun thing to consider. In the games, in the Castlevania games, Alucard is actually not able to go into water until he gets certain relics to let him do that. Actually, in the Castlevania lore, vampires in general cannot go near water. It is a pretty well-known fact in most of the games themselves. So I'm not so sure he would be able to take baths unless we're going with the idea that he's already had like a relic or something. Is it not just running water? No, not in some not in Castlevania, like not in the games. It's just all water. But who knows? That is something to consider, but we'll continue on. Would you describe this character's armpits as lickable? Yes, I would agree. Would you say this character's armpits are fuckable? Yes, I would agree. If I compared characters with his armpit, who would win? Armpits with this character, who would win? You would. I'm glad that everyone who has answered that question, for the most part, has believed that my armpits are better than anyone they've submitted. That's very flattering. Thank you. On average, how often would you say you fantasize about this character dominating you with their armpits? Gothfox gave an 8, which is a little bit close to mid, but not quite close enough to say that it happens often. Lastly, please describe what you think this character would smell like if you had the opportunity to smell them in real life. That herbal scent with ancient tomes with a hint of evergreen. So I actually like the library scent a lot. I don't think I wouldn't call it attractive, but it is fairly pleasing to the nose. However, as we've already seen herbal scents are not rated very highly on this list. But wooded scents are also fairly nice. I went camping for the first time in the summer, and I can confirm that like the smell of like woods is actually really pleasing at times, so long as it's not mixed with the smell of other things. For that virtue, I think Dom would probably uh, definitely kiss and worship his armpits. I'm not sure if Dom would go further unless he was commanded to. So, yeah. All right. We've reached the end of our list. There we go. Thank you guys so much for submitting. We had so many more submissions than I was expecting we would. I'm going to be honest, I opened this form while I was at the cafe on Saturday and got a little bit sad because no one had submitted anything, but I figured I could just do a video and, you know, put a bunch of pity submissions in there for the purpose of doing that. But we didn't have to do that because you guys did a lot of submissions. And I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for participating. I'm really surprised by the results. I did not expect that I would rate so many so highly. That's pretty wild. I also expected we would have at least one or two of these, but we didn't have any, which is kind of interesting. I really enjoyed getting to learn about all of you guys' OCs. Thank you so much for telling me about them. For giving me the opportunity to learn more about the ones that I already know about, and for introducing me to ones I do not know. This was a lot of fun. I definitely enjoyed this rating list more than others I've done in the past. I feel like the vibes of this one were a lot more laid back, and I feel like we definitely exhibited like a lot of tendencies that this community has, which I think is good. So yeah, I'm very pleased. Thank you guys so much for coming out and doing this with me. I had a lot of fun. This is an idea that was submitted to me by Ben over on Blue Sky. Wasn't really one that I took seriously at first, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized, yeah, this is something I could see myself doing, and it was something that I felt that my community might like too. And I think that I was right on both accounts. I don't know. Sometimes it's very difficult to tell because I have a lot of people, not a lot, but maybe a loud minority of people who would absolutely fall head over heels for anything to do with my armpits, and then I have a group of people who aren't really into it but will show up for it. It's kind of, I don't know. But I'm glad that we were able to have fun with this, and nobody was being rude about it or like kink shaming it or anything, so that's pretty cool. This VOD will be staying up on Twitch. It will be going up on YouTube. I don't know if it'll stay up on YouTube, but I will try uploading it to YouTube. So yeah, if you didn't have the opportunity to watch the whole thing, or if you just want other people to see it, or you want to share your rating with people, etc., etc., you'll have plenty of opportunities to do so. And with that, I'm going to end this stream. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I am probably going to stream again later tonight after I eat and have some time to relax, because I did want to play something. I wanted to play Metaphor today, but honestly, Metaphor isn't the kind of game that you can play for 2 hours and be satisfied with. So I will probably save Metaphor for a day where I'm off, and I think we'll probably play more Sorry We're Closed, but we'll see. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, if you're new to this channel, please know that you can join my socials. You can hop into my Discord, get to know my community. You can follow me on Blue Sky. It's very not safe for work. I don't recommend that for people who don't like not safe for work stuff. You can support me on Ko-fi. I'm currently doing a fundraiser to help me with my credit card debt. The goal is $1,200. I'm keeping that going. You can buy me a holiday gift on Throne if you want to. The community gift down in the lower left is a pair of boots that I had my eyes on. We're 50% of the way towards getting those done, so if you want to donate towards that, you're welcome to. It is a crowdfunding goal. The Steam Winter Sale also began recently. There's a lot of stuff I have on my wish list that you can check out. That link there will take you directly to my wish list, and if you want to buy something from my wish list and you can't access my wish list, you can DM me and I will link it to you another way. And that's pretty much all I have to say. So I will see you guys later when we check out Sorry We're Closed, and I hope that you have a good rest of your evening. Bye bye.